Here's tonight's 9 at 9. A huge block party in Florida takes a violent turn when law enforcement tries to break it up.
You had 5% that was out there inciting a riot, carrying firearms, selling drugs.
The thing that initially started was a deputy got a rifle pointed at him. And that's when I think the whole dynamic changed.
Deputies called for backup. They say the crowd began throwing items, including chairs and bottles at them. In the end, 8 people were arrested, and several law enforcement officers were treated for minor injuries.
Eviction proceedings can legally resume across Texas today, but it will likely be a couple of more weeks before these type of cases actually go before judges in Bexar County.
That gives renters a bit more time to try to come up with help. Officials with the city's Neighborhood and Housing Services Department say more than 7,600 people have applied for assistance since mid-March, an exponential increase compared to normal times. Pier 1 wants to close all of its stores for good. The 58-year-old retailer is asking the bankruptcy court to cease its retail operations as soon as reasonably possible. Pier 1 currently has more than 500 stores, down from 1,000 last year. It plans to sell its remaining inventory, website, and intellectual property. Here at home, today is Big Lou's Pizza's 20th anniversary. The owner of the restaurant says business has been rough since the pandemic began.
We're barely making it. I'm barely making payroll. I'm barely able to pay the bills, lights, all that. It's very tough.
He says he's managed to not lay off any of his employees. The restaurant is expanding dining capacity to 50% on Friday, and they're continuing to offer takeout. Monkeys at a popular tourist spot in Thailand are facing a food shortage. Under the coronavirus crisis, some monkeys have lost their main source of food, humans. Tourists normally feed them fruits, but tourism has dried up. The ACROPOLIS in Athens is open to visitors once again after being closed thanks to the pandemic. Greece reopened more than 200 archaeological sites this week. Social distancing measures are in place and face masks are recommended.
You can expect to pay more for that next barbecue plate or smoked brisket.
Supply chain issues have driven up beef prices, especially high-demand brisket. Barbecue restaurants we checked with say they are paying double for a pound of prime brisket compared to just a couple of weeks ago.
Everything's gone up a little bit, but brisket's been is outrageous, and brisket's half the meat we sell. We had to go up on our price a little bit.
Checking with about a dozen restaurants around town, we found you can expect to pay from $1 to $5 more for a pound of prime brisket compared to a couple weeks ago. An Alabama student has earned a high school diploma, a bachelor's, and a law school degree, all by the age of 19. Seth Harding was homeschooled through high school, which he finished when he was 10. He received a bachelor's degree in history at the age of 16, and now he has a law degree, and he plans on taking the Alabama bar exam.
For the past 100 years, no one's ever sat for the bar in our state at the age of 19 or younger, and I'll be the first.
Facial recognition technology leads to a joyful reunion and a happy ending to what was a very sad story. A Chinese man kidnapped 32 years ago as a toddler was reunited with his biological family this week. Investigators used facial recognition technology to analyze an old photo of him as a boy and came up with a simulated image of him as an adult. They compared it with photos in the national database and tracked down a man who resembled the image. A DNA test confirmed the man's identity. Authorities are still investigating the initial abduction. To read more about these stories, head to ksat.com.